Hello everyone and welcome back to the Crafty Yellow Camper, and today I have a card to show you which is from the new annual catalogue, or the products are. This is the Country Wood Sweet collection, and the card that we're going to be making today uses the Birdhouse. There we go, Country Birdhouse stamp set, and these are the dies, and we're also going to be using some of these lovely papers which are called Country Woods, I believe. Papers. Yeah, I think they're called Country Woods. Okay, so that's a sneak peek, first sneak peek at the new annual catalogue from me. So this is the stamp set. So you've got quite a large birdhouse image, a bird, some sort of grungy splatter, some flowers, a little bit of wood effect stamp there, these little edges, another little sort of border bit there, and we've got hoping you have the best day ever, happy birthday, and hello friend. And then these are the dies that go along with it. So as always, there is the die that cuts out the birdhouse and the bird, and the flowers. So this one cuts those flowers out, this one cuts that out, and there are some little ones. But again, there are some standalone dies. So there's these leaves, so that's a pair of leaves there. There's some individual leaves. These flowers here are all standalone ones. There's also the post, which we are going to be using. And I'm not quite sure what this is meant to be. It almost looks like a balloon string. So whether you could make a bow... Oh, I reckon you could have it up that way and make a bouquet of flowers. I have to have a play with that. Yeah, haven't worked out what the steering wheel one is for yet. This one actually cuts out the post on the front, the perch on the front. But I can't quite work out what this one's for, because it actually cuts this little hole in the middle. I thought at first that this edge cut the opening for the birdhouse, but it seems to cut this little bit in the middle out as well, which obviously you don't want. So I'm not entirely sure what that one's for. If you know, let me know. Okay, so let's just put those to one side. I'll try not to throw them around. And this is the card that we're going to make. Now, I've gone ahead and done all the die cutting, because you don't need to watch me die cut things. So this is the card we're going to make. Sorry, I forgot to say, there's also these dies that cut sort of the fancy edges and the sort of top of the table, which are really nice. And then I've just stamped a little bird inside. I think, looking at the stamp set, that you could get some of these greetings. So what have we got there? Happy birthday. Yeah, happy birthday would fit along the sort of table part. Don't know that hello friend would. Let's have a little look. Yeah, you could cut it out and you could stamp it, fussy cut it and stick it on top, because only the bottom of the F sticks over the bottom. These ones, what does that one say? Hope you have the best day ever. You could get hoping you have the, and then you'd have to put best day ever over the side. But there are options. We like options. Right, okay. So as I said, this is the card we're going to make. So I'm starting off with a pool party base. So this is half of an A4 sheet. So cut at 14.8 across the middle of an A4 sheet, scored at 10.5, and that gives us our standard C6 card. Okay, then what I've done, I've taken a piece of Petal Pink and I've run it through one of the trio of embossing folders, which are online exclusives. They're called the Basics embossing folders. This one's sort of like, hopefully you can see that, sort of a Hessian texture, but I'm actually going to use the debossed side. So that's what we always say about paper. There's always two sides, and it's the same with an embossing folder. So pick whichever side you prefer, but I actually like the debossed side for this. That is going to lay it up on our card front like that. Okay. And then we're going to assemble our birdhouse. So I'm just going to put this to one side for the minute. This piece of white is to go inside. Oh, actually, let's do that now. So I just used the little bird. It's quite a cute little bird. It's a decent size as well. It's not teeny tiny. And my pool party ink. And I just stamped him in the corner of the inside. And you could use one of those greetings inside the card, and let's do that. What have we got? Let's go for this best day ever one. Hoping you have the best day ever. Nice usable greetings. Now, as always with these long thin photopolymer greetings, I always just drop them down so they straighten themselves out and then pick it up on my block, because there's no point trying to get it level. You'll never do it. It'll always be on the wonk, so just let it naturally fall. Okay, so hopefully that's straight. It's difficult to see when I've got the camera in the way. Hoping you have the best day ever. So that's going to go inside. Now this stamp obviously needed a little bit of conditioning. I've forgotten to do that on this set. I usually give them a rub over with my Tombow sand eraser. It takes off anything that's left from when the stamp was made, any residue, and then just give it a wipe over. I usually use a it sounds a bit weird. I usually use the wipes that they wipe your arm with before they stick a needle in you to do a blood test. Alcohol wipes. Okay, so let's pop that back on there so I know where that is. So that is the inside of our card. Hopefully that ink shall have dried. You can tell there was a little bit of residue because it's not evenly inked, but it'll be fine. Okay, and we'll just put some glue on the back of that. Now, I've not long started a new bottle of glue, so I'm trying to be a bit careful with it. Otherwise it squidges everywhere. Oh, I've just realised I've got a piece of ink on there. Lob that baby wipe out of the way. Okay. I'm just going to pop that inside our card. Now, I found it easier to make up the birdhouse flat. So what I've done, I've stamped the birdhouse in memento, black memento. I don't very often use black ink because it's not one of my favourite colours, but sometimes you do need it. So this is one of the papers that is out of the set of papers. There are two sets of papers that coordinate with that suite, two stamp sets, two lots of dies, and two sets of papers. So this is the sort of pastel-y planks that I've used, and that's got this sort of rough effect on the back, and we're going to use that for something else. Let me just show you the papers. So that's that one again. So then you've got this sort of dark brown wood effect, which has got sort of pale planks on the other side. That's also good for stamping on. Then you've got this sort of large planks here. I apologise for not taking these out of the packer, but I'm rubbish at getting them back in. And then I really like this one. On the back of those pale planks, you've got this sort of pool party painted wood effect, as if the paint's peeling off. Then there's another sort of darker colour wood one, and that's got this sort of pinky distressed paint effect on the back. Another wood one, and that's got this sort of whitewashed distressed look on the back. And then there's this really funky sort of it is like a whitewashed effect with a little bit of wild wheat in there. I'll tell you the colours in a minute. And on the back of that is sort of a grey wood effect. Is that it? Yes, that's it. So those are the papers that go, well, one of the sets of papers that go with this suite, and they are mainly wood effects, so I think they have done that with the Birdhouse in mind. So just to show you, here they are in the catalogue. So page 51 in the new catalogue. So these are the wood effect ones, and then there are these ones which go with the Country Flowers stamp set and dies. So that's those. So for any of you that have seen a new catalogue, you might have noticed that there has been quite a lot of changes to the catalogue format. I'm slowly getting my head around it. I'm not going to lie, I didn't find it the easiest after our other annual catalogues. I've been a demonstrator for just over 11 years, so I just sort of got used to that format. This one is meant to be a little bit more of an ideas book, and I'm sure I will get my head around it. I just don't find it quite so easy to navigate, and that's a lot of the feedback that I'm having. Anyway, I'm sure we'll all get used to it. Right, so these are the bits and pieces that I've die cut. So I've used the colours that are in the papers. So these are the colours that are in the papers. There's Pool Party, Petal Pink, Wild Wheat, and Smoky Slate. So those are the 4 colours that are in the papers. Okay. So I've picked out from the sort of stripy, pastel-y, stripy planks. I've used Misty Moonlight for the top of the roof and for the sort of top of the bird table, if you will. And then I've done the pretty patterned bit in Pretty Pink. And then I've actually used a couple of punches. They are retired circle punches, but I do find in my classes it's just so much easier. So I've used a 3/4 of an inch circle punch to cut the hole for the entrance. It's just very slightly smaller, but it works okay. And then I've used this tiny little, is it an 1/8? No, 3/8 for the perch. And I've just punched those out of scraps. In fact, I've already lost my perch, so I'll have to punch another one of those. Right, now, and from some early espresso, I've just done this sort of supporting post. So I found it easier when I was putting this together, as I said, to do the birdhouse flat rather than sticking the birdhouse on the card and then sticking the bits on the birdhouse. So I also found that it's easier to stick this piece, sorry, I'm just looking for my glasses, I sent them flying off the desk a minute ago. This piece that's in Petal Pink, it's actually easier to stick that before you put the overhanging part on, and you'll see why. So I'm just going to put a very little amount of glue, just dots along the edge of the trim. Okay, trying not to get it all over my fingers. I'm not very delicate with this kind of stuff. Okay. So, because we've stamped it onto the patterned paper, we've already got the shape where we need to stick it. So I'm using wet glue because it gave me a little bit of wiggle room. And then I lined it up at the top and then lined both the sides up. Oh, she says, moving it. And you can just see a little bit of the edge. I haven't done that very well because I haven't got my head in the way. You can just see a little bit of the black edge if you've lined it up badly like I have. Yeah. If you line it up carefully like that, you don't. Right, and I'm using mini dimensionals because they fit perfectly onto this fascia, if you like. Now, you can put as many dimensionals on as you like. I just don't tend to go overkill with dimensionals. This card won't be posted, so it's not going to go through a sorting machine and get flattened. Okay, and then that piece lines up with the bit above. So, there. that piece, and I've just put that up to give us a bit of 3D effect. And I'm going to do the same with the bird table, but this time we can get away with some bigger dimensionals. There's one on each end there, and I'm just sticking my thumbnail into the middle to make the backing lift off a bit. Makes it easier to get it off. And you can see I've got my trusty little jar of tops. I'm not saving them for anything in particular, but it just goes to show you how many you end up accumulating. And I find they go everywhere if I put them down on my desk, so I've found it easier just to use one of these little individual jam portion jars. And it also means I don't knock it over if I put the lid back on. Okay, so that's our birdhouse. And then we need the piece here that is the opening. Now, in real life, if we were looking at the birdhouse, it would be dark because we obviously wouldn't be able to necessarily see the back of the birdhouse, which is why I've just used some of the scraps of this paper and turned it over. So we've got that nice misty moonlight side. And then I did punch a tiny little perch, and I've lost it. So this is just the scrap from cutting out the birdhouse. So I'm just going to bring my tiny little punch in and punch that out. And if you don't have a circle punch, you could either colour that in with a marker pen, or I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue on here this time to make it easier to pick it up. Or you could, you know, use the die out of the dies. I'm just being lazy. Okay, now again, this is slightly bigger, but it works as far as I'm concerned. Okay, and then with our bird, I've stamped him onto just a scrap of Pool Party. And I'm just popping a dimensional on there. But before I put him on, I'm going to put this now onto the front of our card. So we need our supporting trunk, if you like. Now, big dimensionals are too big for that, but the small ones will fit. So I'm just popping a couple of small ones down the length of that upright. It's a nice little fancy curly bit. Okay, now we want this in the middle, obviously, because it's supporting our birdhouse. So what I'm going to do is bring the card in, get my birdhouse where I want it, and then line this up with the edge of the card so that the birdhouse is in the middle. And then we're going to put some dimensionals on the back of the birdhouse. So haven't put that in there already. That'll make it easier for me to line this up. Now you do need a few more dimensionals on here because obviously whilst our DSP is really good quality and quite thick, it's almost like thin card, it isn't cardstock, so you do need a few more dimensionals. I mean, I could have stamped this on cardstock, but I want to use the really nice stripy plank effect paper. Okay, and then this is just going to go on like that. And then we've got our little bird. I'm just going to sit our little bird on there, like that. Okay, so there's our card. Nice and quick and simple to put together once you've die cut the bits and pieces. And there's our greeting. A little bit of ink in there. Worst of it off. Okay, and there's our little bird and our greeting inside. So there's our two cards. Hope you'll give it a go. It's one of the first sets I saw in the catalogue that I wanted to get. Really good. You can use it for the birthday, which we have done here. Hoping you have the best day ever. Or actually, that doesn't necessarily have to be for a birthday, does it? It could be for, you know, somebody's special day for another reason, like graduation. Hope you have the best day ever. Also, you could do 2 of the little birds and turn it into an anniversary card, which would be quite nice as well. So, right, there's our completed cards. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all again soon. Thanks for watching and happy stamping.